Well, ladies, I'm excited to be here with you today. We're doing this podcast on behalf of Women of Today's Manufacturing. For our listeners, I'm Jason, and I own a company here in Rockford, managing director of Thinker Ventures, and we're a member of Women of Today's Manufacturing. Now, Jaclyn, you are president of Women of Today's Manufacturing. That's cool. And Meaghan, you're the educational chair. So sounds like you're responsible for all the things that we learn, probably including this podcast in a roundabout way.
Sure. I'll take responsibility for that.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Just own it. So today is an interesting time. We're living through this COVID-19 thing going on, and then we're also going to be talking about your personal journeys. And I know that one of the principles, or one of the guiding directives of WOTM is facilitating career pathways for women in manufacturing. And this pathway sometimes, as we were talking about before the recording, sometimes this pathway is very clear and easy, and sometimes it is just difficult. And it seems like personally you're both at difficult places, and then corporately the world is in a very difficult place. And so we're going to have to spend some time talking about that. So Meaghan, I want to hear from you, I think, to begin with. What has disrupted your pathway personally? Just give us an idea of where you're at.
So I was working for a marketing agency that targeted manufacturers, and they rethought their structural strategy, and unfortunately they had to cut a position out, and mine was selected to be cut. So right now, as it stands, I'm unemployed and looking for a new career opportunity, and I'm just kind of, it's still less than 2 weeks fresh, so... Yeah. As you mentioned before, I'm kind of still in the fog of things, and not really panicking, but just kind of doing some soul searching and figuring out, what can I do to tweak my resume a little bit, and what industry do I really want to stay focused on, and, who are some of the people I'm going to target with my resume, and, what resources am I going to use to hand out my resume, and, thinking about a personal brand for my website that I'm working on, and just taking those steps to come up with a strategy of getting employed again. So I know I want to stick with manufacturing because it's something that I really love doing, and I enjoy learning from people in the manufacturing industry, and it's just something I have a passion for and I enjoy. So I don't really want to step out of that industry, but if I do, I do. But my main goal is to stay within it.
So you've got a handful of things going on. It seems to me you're, like you mentioned, you're kind of in this fog and probably this period of mourning. And then as that dust settles, or you're also putting together these proactive plans to move forward and attack this scenario in the best ways that you know how, yeah?
Right.
Okay.
And what better time to do it, too, because we're all stuck inside and... have a bunch of free time on our hands, so might as well make it a productive.
So you're not just watching Netflix?
No, I mean I am, but I'm doing other
in the
things.
Background.
Yeah, I'm doing other things as well.
well, Jaclyn, I know you're going through this interesting time too. Bring us up to speed. Where are you at in your career journey?
So after hearing kind of Meaghan and her experience being more recent, so my position at a local manufacturing and engineering company was eliminated right before Christmas, so at the end of 2019. So I went through that initial grief and processing stage, and anger and fear and not understanding, and then I was faced with the holiday slowdown. So during that time, I just hit the ground running in the things that I was already invested in outside of paid employment. So I stayed focused on that and gained a lot of traction and energy because I was doing things that I loved, just minus the paycheck. Once things began kind of getting more traction at the beginning of the year, the holidays had passed, and people were starting to call in for interviews and open more positions up. Then we have this crisis of COVID-19 happening. So I think I'm at a second kind of disruption in my process, which is confusing right now because life is confusing and scary for everybody in the world, and trying to understand that new normal, and also try to stay focused on how to be successful in achieving my goals right now, given another disruption in finding gainful employment in a career that I want to do and would be great at. And so right now I'm in this frame of mind where I could do anything, and we can start redeveloping new normals for myself and for other people. So part of the reason why I engage with Meaghan is knowing and feeling where she's at right now. Being able to use WOTM as a platform, because if we can't support our own career pathways for each other, how are we supporting career pathways for other people? So right now it's just a really great opportunity where I have a lot of creative energy flowing and a lot of guts to be able to rethink things and make the most of it for not just me but other people too.
Which seems, nobody wants to go through these troubling times, but these points of struggle do have a tendency to clarify things for us. And like you're talking about, you've got this renewed sense of creativity and, hey, let's just go for it because why not? And do you find, looking back on both of your experiences, do you find that sort of energy has played a role pretty consistently when you're gainfully employed or when you're struggling to find employment? Is it that kind of drive, like, hey, what else? I have nothing to lose. Let's make this happen. Is that kind of a theme for you guys?
For me, I think it is because, once you're employed, you hit a level of comfort, right?
Right.
So you feel like that's going to be your home for how many years or whatever. And then if something unexpected happens where you get laid off or let go, there's this kind of period of shock I think everybody goes through where it doesn't quite hit them. And that happened with me where, at first I was like putting on a brave face and I was like, no, I'm okay. I got this. And then I think day 3 I was starting to feel the whole emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
But that just put more fire underneath me. I didn't take a day off, from announcing my unemployment. The day that I got let go, I let everybody in my social networks know because, what better time than now to push yourself forward. And, I think I'm working harder now to, update what my skill sets are and stuff because it's vital for me to be employed. I had a family I have to support. I have 3 kids. I like stuff, and you
Right.
can't buy stuff if you don't have money. So, I like Starbucks coffee and haven't been able to drink it because I'm trying to save, money where I can. But
Well, now they're closed, so
yeah, so
you don't have a choice
Yeah,
anyhow.
Have drive-through.
so that's a benefit,
Nope, some of
right?
their drive-thrus are closed.
no.
Yep.
That is
So
bad news.
that is a benefit with the quarantine. I am saving money during a time I need to, but.
Yeah.
I think I'm pushing myself harder now.
Really?
Yeah, because I want to get out there, and I don't want to be unemployed for very long.
Mm-hmm.
I would get anxious and bored, and it would become a problem at home. I would start annoying people. Like, I am annoying my daughter now with chores and stuff, and I'm trying to project manage her, and she just... I think she wants to strangle me at this point. So I'm pushing myself harder, I think, and taking leaps that I wouldn't have done before. So, I'm reaching out to people that I've never met in person and just asking them questions on LinkedIn and trying to get their advice or making a connection with them and setting up meetings through Zoom that I probably would have never done before with complete strangers. But
So there's kind of a fearlessness that has come out.
yeah.
That seems to be a theme for you, this idea of fearlessness.
So initially similar, day 1, I was already getting my resume put out and reaching out to my network and stuff. I was a little bit more, I think, conservative in terms of posting directly on LinkedIn. That took me maybe a month or 2 because I was embarrassed and I was confused and kind of going through that process. Plus the timing was bad with the holidays, but yeah, I was plug and chug, let's get this done. I didn't want to be unemployed for longer than 2 weeks. And then
And how long has it been now?
It's going on 4 months.
Yeah.
And so it's a really, each day is different. And I some days get confused, like, why aren't people utilizing me? They're wasting time and resources because I can help them and I can get things done. But, given the situation and the barriers with resumes and pre-screening and algorithms, I had to think outside and really focus on my network, and take meetings that I would normally not take, and phone calls and visits and multiple recruiters. So I've been told I'm doing all of the right things, but there are other things beyond what the right things are that are out of my control. But yeah, I have a lot of energy, and I'm getting bored. So I want to make sure that I can not get into a rut. And
for you, how has this affected, positively or negatively, this new role that you have now as president of WOTM? And it seems that's that juxtaposition of, I don't have a job right now and I'm president of this organization. How's that been playing out for you?
yeah, so at the end of 2019, I was on cloud 9. I had just been announced one of the Rockford Chamber's 40 leaders under 40. I was ready to take the reins to be president of Women of Today's Manufacturing. And then within a month of that, life came to a screeching halt. And it's like, okay, now I'm no longer employed. And I'm no longer employed in manufacturing. So what does that do to my credibility with an organization and being the leader? So knowing that, and figuring out what to do, I just really invested a lot of my time and my focus into the organization. And so within a few months' time, we gained a ton of traction. Our membership rates are increasing, our awareness and engagement is definitely increasing. At our annual dinner, we had the highest membership rate, attendance rate, I think, to date. So I was, and I still am, doing all of these things to put my energy and my, not pride, but just my focus on something positive, because I am the leader and I don't want to let this group of people down, but I also still have the skills to be able to lead and manage and make something really great.
Do you find that it's a struggle to not internalize the message of, I've been let go from a position, or my position has been eliminated and I was eliminated along with it, but that does not reflect on me as an individual, and I still have value to give? I mean, I'm guessing this is not the first time that you've gone through this type of situation. How do you process that, and how do you not internalize some of these negative messages?
I think if you internalize them, it's just going to make the situation worse for yourself. So I've been laid off before. I was laid off when I was pregnant with my second, and I thought that was the end of the world. And you have to look at it, as cliche as it sounds, you have to look at it as one door closes, there's another door open for opportunity. And one of my favorite things that I've heard throughout my career is, if you don't learn a lesson from your failures, then you're never going to succeed. Like, it's going to be hard for you to succeed. It's going to be hard for you to grow. So just because this didn't work out doesn't mean another situation won't work out. And because this situation didn't work out, I'm actually learning about myself and how I can improve myself to be better in the next situation. So I try to keep the glass half full and be as optimistic as I possibly can, because I feel like if you do get caught up in all that negative stuff and you internalize it, it's going to be your downfall, and it's just going to be harder for you to keep pushing forward and moving forward. It's just going to weigh you down instead of pushing you forward. So that's why I openly talk about it. I'm very transparent. I find being transparent and honest with people is easier than, trying to fake that things are okay. And so far I've gotten a good response on social media, and, I'm connecting with more people, and they understand because everybody's been through it.
Yeah.
Everybody has gone through a hard time in their life.
So, and you mentioned that, like, day one, it's this embarrassment. You don't want to announce it to the world.
Right.
What about you? Like, how have you changed your viewpoint of that, or how have you seen yourself successful, or maybe not, in sharing where you're at?
Well, I think with me, I've undergone a lot of personal transformations. I used to be a very kind of fearful, fear-based thinker, and want to protect as much as I could. And my journey has been a little bit more open. I've been able to be super vulnerable and super realistic about what's happening. I do, same as Meaghan, just told people from the get-go, except for my great aunt who still doesn't know. And I'm terrified.
She's not going to see this.
No, she won't see this. But
why are you terrified about that? What's the standout?
Because she means a lot to me, and her opinion matters, and I don't want to feel like I've let her down.
Oh.
And trust me, so thinking through these things, my whole family says, well, she just wants you to be okay, and she cares about you. And so it's not really going to matter, just tell her. And I'm like, I just can't.
It seems like it's a roadblock for a lot of people, though. We understand that people care about us and they're going to help us, but at the same time, we kind of figure that they're probably not. They're going to judge us and, eat us for dinner.
Mm-hmm. I think part of the issue is we're women in the industry, and maybe this is just me, but self-consciously, like, when I lost my previous position, I was just like, crap, everything that they say about women in this industry is going to be true if they know that I lost my position, and that really sucks. I mean, I want to be on the same playing field as, my male counterparts in the industry, and I feel like in certain situations we have to work a little harder and fight a little harder to get the respect.
And that's a really big weight of thinking through, like, well, what impression am I making then for other women in the industry? And so one of the things that I was reading up on right away was, if a man loses their job, they tend to take it as less of a blow, and they end up failing up. And their next position that they get, their salary increases by at least 1%. Whereas women who get relieved of a position, they tend to retreat and fail down. And statistically, they will take like a 24% decrease in pay. And so for me, when that happened and I learned those types of statistics, I was just determined. I am not failing down this time. I am failing up. Mm-hmm. And thinking through those things challenged me to say, okay, here are my skills. Here's what I'm great at. Here are some things that I could get better at. But it wasn't a lot of negative self-talk. And now I'm bound and determined I will. And I've been waiting for a great opportunity so that I can fail up and put myself on a different platform and change the percentage rates for women in manufacturing and industry. That's been a big driver, because having that pressure.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No.
It's not fun at all.
Yeah, I mean, you've got these external pressures, and you've got this internal pressure, and these messages that play out. And like you mentioned, Meaghan, this isn't the first time you've been through this, and you're dealing with this time differently than you dealt with in the past, and you've got some energy behind that. This message of I'm failing up, is that something that's resonating with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten a lot more confidence within myself, and just because one situation didn't see the positives within me doesn't mean another situation won't. Mm-hmm. So I just have to keep telling myself it just wasn't the right door for me to walk through. And I just have to keep reminding myself that, I have good skills. I have awesome skills. There's things that I still need to learn too. And I'm willing to go the extra mile to learn whatever it is that they need. But in the meantime, what I do have to offer is going to always be at its best. And I'm always going to do continuous improvement to strengthen those skills as well too. Mm-hmm. And I'm just not going to sell myself short anymore. I'm going to keep selling the best self of myself, and if it's a fit for someone, great. If not, it'll be a fit for someone out there.
Yeah. What habits or principles are you applying in your day-to-day work of life to facilitate this future success? Because it doesn't just happen.
Right. I mean, I can wish it while I'm watching my Netflix shows or my murder mystery docu-series that get a little rough at times, but I love. So, all right, I distracted myself. So discipline and structure keep me moving along. They keep me focused, knowing what my goals are. So every day I put things on the calendar still of what I need to do, come up with new ideas maybe I should explore, and dedicating time in segments of my day to focus on doing the job searches at the beginning of the week, trying to set up at least 3 or 4 phone calls or appointments with people, try to get an interview at least once or twice a week, and keep doing what I'm doing, and not just say, well, I've done enough, something will come soon.
So you've got more outreach that you're doing with people?
Oh my God, a ton of outreach. I've connected and built my network more now than ever before. And that's something I'm really proud of. And that's something that I encourage other people to do. Because I have nothing to lose. Like, I want to be a pioneer in this. I want to be an example of having some pretty tough situations presented to me. And I want to be somebody that's been able to persevere through it, find opportunities, and then speak about that experience so that I can impact somebody else.
What about you?
I'm just, similar to what Jack said, doing some of the same things she's doing, but I'm also trying to work on my personal brand. I do a lot of writing. I've done a lot of writing for manufacturing in the past, so I started an outline of some topics that I wanted to discuss and post on my LinkedIn page. And, from day one, I put out there, hey, I'm available. Let's have a conversation. I put my personal phone number out there, my personal email. And, I mean, am I going to always answer your phone call? No, if I don't know the number. But, I'm serious. Leave me a message. I'll call you back right away. I have a conversation scheduled with somebody that I met on LinkedIn who works for Samsung. So, I mean, I'm just constantly engaging and starting conversations and asking questions and, reaching out to people that I normally would not reach out to. Like, Gary Vee is one of the top influencers that I follow because I just like his attitude and I like how transparent he is. And, he goes against the grain when it comes to tact sometimes. But he has a lot of good advice, and he is successful because of the grit that he has and just how upfront he is. And I sent him an email via LinkedIn because I'm on LinkedIn Premium. Have I heard back from him? No, but I mean, it was a shot and I took it. And sometimes you just have to put yourself in those uncomfortable positions to, move ahead in this world. And that's what I'm continuing to do. I'm just continuing to work on myself and strengthen, some of the skills that I have, learning new skills that I don't have, reading a lot, texting a lot, emailing a lot, and just constantly picking on people like, hey, have you heard anything? Is there any openings? And maybe being annoying, but, sometimes you gotta be annoying to get what you want, so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's annoying, though. I think that people welcome that reminder because we get caught up in the minutia of our lives and the day-to-day, and some things take a back seat. So, I mean, if you're not advocating and saying, hey, gentle reminder, I think people appreciate that. Like, oh, yeah, I should have been thinking through this. One of the things that when you're talking, I started thinking about, like, Meaghan and I are connectors, we're networkers. A lot of what we've done in our roles in the past have been to account manage and develop relationships with clients. And so for me, it was super important. Like, it always made sense to do it at work, but it never made a ton of sense to do it outside of work. Because why? You go home and you disengage from work as much as you can, but I've used my skills in networking, connections, people, to really keep my spirit positive, but also to use it for my own self now too, which I'm proud of myself that I'm able to do that, and I'm not afraid. Even just, sending an email, sending somebody an in-mail and LinkedIn. I don't think it through as much as I used to. Should I, shouldn't I? It's like, no, this is what I want to say, and here are the avenues, here's what I want to talk to you about. And I've gotten really great response, and I'm happy about that. So
you're both part of WOTM in leadership capacities. I'm curious what you have experienced and how you feel that that's going to create a better opportunity for this organization.
So one of the things that we try to do at WOTM is get people in touch with career pathways within manufacturing. And I think with us going through it personally, we can offer a lot of feedback on where we're missing the mark or what we're doing good at. And I think in the past, WOTM lacked being engaging with their audience, and Jack has really lifted that part of WOTM up. I mean, with the fundraising event that we had, that was one of the highest attendance that we had with that. She had the news there, and I think that's going to help us, but being able to speak on it on a personal level, I think that's going to, help people really connect with our stories and understand the importance of, what it means to actually help each other out, especially within an organization that's trying to, help the manufacturing industry and bridge that gap that the manufacturing industry is, suffering from right now.
Yeah, one of the things, the question I posed was, for us as an organization, what are we doing to support career pathways for our members, and for people who are in these roles that maybe need to pivot or have a unique situation happen? How are we reaching them? How are we connecting with them? And I think what I've been trying to focus on and stay present with is just making that known, building that awareness, and then now I have a partner in crime. So with Meaghan being in a similar position as I am, like, now's the time for us to do it. So we're out here now. We're recording this video cast. We're putting a ton of promotional video efforts together and just making sure that we're advocating for the career pathways for ourselves, for our members. We have tons of manufacturers who are members who have that gap in their skills, in finding skilled people for their workforce. So where are they? Can we find them for you? Can we make those connections? Are we people that can help you in those gaps? Maybe, maybe not, but with the amount of people that we're talking to and engaging with, the companies that we're talking to and engaging with, we make those connections, and we can at least put, a little dent.
And it's funny too, because the WOTM was actually one of the first groups that I turned to when I lost my job. I let everybody know, hey, can I still be part of this group, because I'm not employed anymore, and well, yeah, that's one of our missions. We're trying to help people with career pathways. So I've already had a few people within the organization tell me, hey, when you update your resume, send it to me, and they're going to push that out for me. So that's definitely one thing that I'm working on, is not just having one resume for all of my skill sets, but having more focused resumes. So having like maybe 2 or 3 that focus on a different skill set for different positions. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me that that saying, I can't remember who it was Ben Franklin, something like luck favors the prepared. it seems that sometimes you stumble into things, but in retrospect, you've been doing things all along that have prepared you to see opportunities and take advantage of them. And certainly now it's timely. By some estimates, up to 30% of the American workforce might be unemployed, which would be massive, obviously, and hugely detrimental to our country. But you guys are focusing your efforts first for yourselves internally, and then walking that path, and then opening up to this great organization to lead the way. I think it's pretty profound. Anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with?
You know, challenges are a day-to-day thing. They're going to happen, and it's how you face them that's going to get you through the next challenge or bring you to the next success. So don't feel like you're in a situation alone. With digital technology available to all of us, I mean, yeah, this whole COVID-19 situation really sucks, especially for a lot of manufacturers who depend on people being at work on a day-by-day basis. So how can you use digital technology to your advantage? And I think that goes for all of us. We got to social distance each other from each other, but how can we use the technology we have to engage with each other and come up with solutions ourselves? So don't be shy, don't be afraid, don't be embarrassed. Just, take it as it is, be optimistic, and just keep promoting yourself out there and your skills.
Awesome. Anything you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Oh, man.
President of
really
WOTM?
Big question. If you or somebody you know is experiencing just some pain, some discomfort from life in general, employed or unemployed, reach out. Let's make those connections. I think that we're a great group that can show support for each other. We build each other up, and we're definitely, even if it's just kind of a miscellaneous, random need, we all pitch in. I know one of our chairs recently had some medical issues and had to step down, so my email was, can I bring you a casserole? Do you need anything for me to pick up from the grocery store for you? And those kinds of things. So it might not be career pathways, it might not be a scholarship, but we do try to lift each other up and provide that support no matter what, because we should, and we're all very strong, talented women, so we're here. And
employed, unemployed, manufacturing, not manufacturing, we're all human.
Right.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we are all human. So
awesome.
So connect with us on LinkedIn.
Right?
Yeah, leave us with the contact info as we close out.
So I actually am okay giving out my number, so 608-346-5580. My email's kind of long, so probably just send it to the WOTM email. Jack can give me that.
So our WOTM's general email is WOTMRKFD@gmail.com.
Awesome.
If you need anything, I check it. Meaghan will be checking the email too, so we'll get your messages routed to the right people. If you have a unique need, then we'll definitely connect you to who the most appropriate person in our membership list is. And don't be afraid. We are fearless, and we're leveraging digital technology and video and phone calls. So let's do this together.
Alrighty. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Right.